This is Larry with Royal Property Management and Caldwell Banker Royal Realty. I talk to property owners almost every day. What I hear from them are questions and concerns like, are we in a housing crisis? Are we in a recession? Has the housing market slowed dramatically? What's going to happen after the quarantine? Many own rental property and they're very concerned to read about an eviction moratorium. And no less concerned to read that during March nationally, almost a third of residential rents were uncollected. Some even asked me if we're on a downward economic spiral. I'm happy to report to you that we are not in a housing crisis. A housing crisis happens when there's a surplus of inventory and or there's a glut of bad mortgage loans, not based on real income or real assets. Southern California in general and San Diego in particular have a housing shortage. And thanks to the reforms after 2008, mortgages now are based on real income and real assets. We don't have the dynamic now for a 2008 style housing crisis. Now, are we in a recession? That's a very different question. According to Goldman Sachs, we are already in the midst of a very deep recession. However, they also predict that during the last half of this year, we are going to have a strong, absolutely historic recovery. And when you combine that with the fact that during most recessions, the price of real estate actually goes up, I would say that most property owners are in a situation where their glass is at least half full. Now, what happens after the quarantine? It seems clear that there's a significant number of property owners who, because of the uncertainty of the quarantine, the virus, delayed putting their homes on the market. At the end of the quarantine, they're going to act upon that desire. I'm not saying that will make a glut, but it probably will be a bit of a spike. And that can put downward pressure on certain stratas of our housing market. So if you were thinking in terms of selling your property anyway, I would suggest thinking in terms of sooner rather than later, and I would be more than happy to help you with that. Just give me a call. Now, the eviction moratorium, that is not a pleasant phrase for any landlord. At least I can reassure you that that is something that is temporary, it is conditional, and it does not forgive debt. It merely postpones it. This, being very specific, 31% of uncollected rents during March nationally. It's a real situation. Obviously, some companies are having some trouble with that. I don't want to be unfair, but it's something that's in many ways preventable through years of good management practices. Companies like Royal Property Management, for example, had 0% missed rents during both March and April. Are we on a downward spiral? Well, when you combine what I've just shared with you from Goldman Sachs about that very strong recovery in the last part of this year, with the reality that it's very doable, maybe not easy, but doable to maintain rents even in this environment, I think it's fair to say that landlords with well-maintained properties and good management practices by themselves self-managing or by their property management companies are going to be in a strong position by the end of this year and an even stronger position in the years to come. If you found the information I've shared with you today to be interesting and or useful, I'd be most grateful if you would like and subscribe. Have a nice day.